Hey guys, welcome back. So today for the deck highlight, I have a deck that is called Lamby's Confusion, and the reason is because it's made by Lamby, and the confusion part is because what I believe is that your cards are going to move everywhere, and your opponent doesn't know actually when you're dropping a card. It's probably not going to end up there at the end of the game, so your opponent is really confused. And yeah, you're probably confused yourself actually because there's some cards that you don't even know where they're going to end up, such like Captain Marvel or Spider-Man. But yeah, this deck has been really freaking fantastic. I've had like 75 games played with it, and I reached infinite with just that short amount of games. And I had like a 70% win rate. So a really crazy deck, and we actually don't even see it in the meta right now. So I checked on Untapped, and like this deck is nowhere to be found. So yeah, I thought I should make a deck highlight for you guys. This is not actually me that found it. It's one of my good friend Paul's Glazer. He has a Marvel Snap podcast, and he posts like twice a day. So I'm gonna link a link in the description down below, and yeah, go check him out. He has some great content, and he's like the biggest source of research for me. So yeah, without the further ado, let's get into it. But just before we do, please, if you like the content, like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Most of you guys watching are not even subscribed, so just subscribe. It's free. It helps me out a lot. I'm trying to reach 1K subscribers. But yeah, let's get into it. So I'm going to go into a card breakdown here like I usually do. I've seen from my stats that like most of you guys switch and go directly to the gameplay. You can. If you really want to, there's a timestamp down below. Jump to the gameplay. But guys, when you're not sure, just a tiny bit, please listen at the card breakdown. It's way more important than the gameplay, because I'm going to explain all the interactions. So I really suggest staying for the card explanation and deck breakdown. But if you want, look for timestamps down below, jump to the gameplay, and do what you please. But yeah, let's get into it. So the whole main idea of this deck is, like I mentioned earlier, to play some move cards, and then you're going to be able to like move everything across the board, and you're going to have like your Angela does get buffed up. You're going to have your Craven that's going to get buffed up. You have your Miles Morales that's going to get reduced. So you have quite a lot of stuff you can do. A lot of different play patterns, right? It's because you can move so many cards on the board. So yeah, the whole main idea is to confuse your opponent by playing some cards that are going to move everywhere. It's really hard for an opponent to know what to play for when you have like a Nightcrawler and a Jeff in a lane, because both of them can move. You have or Nightcrawler, Jeff, and Captain Marvel in a single lane, because your opponent doesn't know where to get or your if you're gonna move them, right? So yeah, you kind of have like that advantage from move. And plus, all those cards are just like good stats card, right? So Spider-Man just crazy good stats. Jeff has good stats. Miles Morales has crazy stat line like a 1-5. Hulkbuster has great stats. Yeah, so all cards have like just really good stats to drop on the board. But also those stats are not good enough that they can get Shang-Chi, right? So Angela, try to bring her just to 8, not to 9. Same goes for Craven. Bring him to 8, not to 9. So you're gonna have a lot of cards that are gonna be like some 2/8s, which is just like a lot of power that is just basically unstoppable, right? So yeah, let's go in card by card. The first one is Kitty Pryde. So Kitty Pryde really freaking good in this deck, because you play her on Angela and basically just start pumping up Angela. If you know your opponent doesn't have a Shang-Chi, you just play her over and over and over again on the Angela lane, and the Angela is going to become like, sometimes it can go to like 214. But yeah, once again, make sure your opponent doesn't have a Shang-Chi, so especially in Conquest, that would be good. But yeah, so Angela is really good here. Also, Angela is really good to fight off those Professor X, because normally she's going to be like a 1-4 or 1-5 by turn 5 or 4. And then you play her in a lane where your opponent might Professor X, and then if your opponent doesn't Professor X, well, then you get your Kitty Pryde back. But if he does, then you just win a lane freely just because of Kitty Pryde. So it's kind of good against some lockdown lists that uses Professor X. and works great with Angela. Next up, we have Nightcrawler. So in the original Lamby's list, they I think he used Silk instead of Nightcrawler. I don't have Silk as of yet. He's one of the very few cards I don't have. So I replaced it for Nightcrawler, which works just as well. So you put like Nightcrawler on in the Angela lane, and you move it to Craven. So that's kind of like a recurring play pattern here. You play Nightcrawler Angela, and then move it to Craven. You play Jeff into Angela lane, and then you move it to the Craven lane, and you play Spider-Man into Angela lane, and hopefully he's gonna go to the Craven lane, right, to just buff up those two cards. So if you think about it, Nightcrawler is like a 1/6 if you have Angela and Craven on the board, which is just great, right? Yeah, 1/6. You play Nightcrawler, but it gives +2 to Angela. It has +2 and gets +2 to Craven as well. So just a lot of power on the board for just a single 1 cost. Yeah, just one more thing. Obviously, you can move it wherever you need. If you need to add some extra power in a single lane, you could just move Nightcrawler and replace it with a bigger card. At the end of the game, if you want your Captain Marvel to be an option to go in that lane, you can also move it to free a spot. You have just a lot of options like that with the move cards in this deck. So yeah, Angela, I talked about her when I mentioned Kitty Pryde. So you play Kitty Pryde in the Angela lane to buffer, bring it to 8, not further than that. If you don't know if your opponent has a Shang-Chi, right? So I suggest you guys knowing the meta decks right now. For example, right? So right now, Shuri Red Skull decks, they start using Shang-Chi, right? So I think they didn't before, but now even Shuri Red Skull deck have Shang-Chi's, right? So if you see a Shuri Red Skull deck, now you can you bring your Angela to 8, right? Not further than that. Even to move lists have Shang-Chi right now. So make sure you know what lists have Shang-Chi, what lists doesn't have Shang-Chi, right? And if it doesn't, you can bring Angela to any amount of power. The amount of power you can bring on the board with Angela and like Kitty Pryde is just absurd. So yeah, really, really powerful. Once again, don't play her in the Craven lane, or don't play Craven in the same lane as Angela, because you want to do that that play with like Nightcrawler and Jeff, where you play in the Angela lane and then move it to the Craven lane. So yeah. Next up, we have Craven. So kind of the same role as Angela, but instead of being cards that you play here, it's cards that you move here. Really great in this deck because, yes, Nightcrawler and Jeff gives him +2, but you also have Captain Marvel that's going to move there if she needs to, and it's going to be basically a 2/4 just with Captain Marvel, which is really, really good. At the end of the game, Captain Marvel does her math, and then it counts the +2 from moving to the Craven lane. So you have so many targets. You also have the Spider-Man target. So yeah, you have quite a lot of options to move cards around to buff up our Craven and buff it to 2/8 stat line. It's pretty hard to go further than that because your lane is going to be filled at that point. But nonetheless, 2/8 is the best stat line because you can't get Shang-Chi, right? So you have your Angela in the lane that's has like a crazy stat line. You have your Craven in the other lane that has a crazy stat line as well. So Jeff is like a Nightcrawler, right? The same as the Nightcrawler. You play him in the Angela lane, move it to the Craven lane, but also he's really good at just being played in some lockdown lanes, right? So if you have some location like Miniatures Lab, like Professor X is on the board, or Sanctum Sectorum, all of these locations, well, Jeff is just perfect to fit to just jump in one of these locations. And yeah, if you have a Jeff, your opponent doesn't, sometimes you're just going to win because of that. Next up, we have Hulkbuster. So Hulkbuster's freaking good because it's a 3/5. So just by itself is a crazy stat line. If you drop Hulkbuster on any lane without even a single card on it, it's a 3/5, which is already freaking good. If you play your Hulkbuster on Angela, well, then it counts as a 3/7 on Angela and doesn't take a spot, right? So you go for that pattern, that play pattern. If you know your opponent doesn't have a Shang-Chi, like I mentioned, then you could go for like your Angela. Let's say on 3 you like Angela, Kitty Pryde, and then on 4 you Hulkbuster, Kitty Pryde. So then your Angela is already just ginormous, and yeah, Hulkbuster freaking good. Spider-Man. So Spider-Man is so good. His stat line, that's his 3-5, makes him one of the most powerful cards right now. I think for me, I think 3-5 is maybe a little bit too far. I think it's probably the MVP in this deck. So a 3-5 is just a crazy stat line, but the effect is just as crazy. So like I mentioned, once again, Spider-Man into Angela, if it moves to the Craven, that's a 3-9, which is crazy. But in reality, you're going to play Spider-Man a lot of the time as a disruption card. So if your opponent's playing a Wong and you know he's going to play something there, you move the Wong with Spider-Man. If your opponent's playing an Invisible Woman, you just move the Invisible Woman on turn 5. Maybe it's going to reveal the MODOK and you just win the game because the MODOK destroys the hell out, right? I'm just giving ideas, but there's so many times where Spider-Man is going to get so much value from moving a single card. Sometimes your opponent just have like a single big card at the end of the game, right? Last night when I played on stream, by the way. There's the VOD down below on my channel, so if you want to see all those games. But like, if you know your opponent is going to play in a lane, last night I won in a Space Throne because I played my Spider-Man, my Jeff. So Spider-Man pulled the card out before it was even revealed, and then my Jeff was the only one in Space Throne, right? So if you're smart about it, you can do some crazy plays with Spider-Man. And yeah. Next up, we have Shang-Chi, which has almost no synergy with our deck. I would say other than Angela. But I don't think I have to explain why it's there. Shang-Chi is just broken. It's the most played card by a large margin. So we have some very good stat line in this deck, but like we can't really beat Shuri Red Skull that goes off. So yeah, Shang-Chi's there just to defeat that deck if need be. All those big cards deck. So yeah, Shang-Chi, really good card. One thing I forgot to mention, you have Spider-Man, which is a possibility. With Spider-Man, you have the possibility of moving armor out of its Shuri lane, right? So if your opponent has he plays armor, and then on 4 he wants to play Shuri, you can Spider-Man on 4 on 3. You're gonna move the armor, and then when your opponent Shuri is in an empty lane or an unprotected lane, then he has to play his 5th card on turn 5 there, and then you can Shang-Chi it for free. So Spider-Man has that possibility of moving the armor, and then you play Shang-Chi in the now unprotected lane. Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is so good. Once again, play her in the Angela lane. She's gonna move to the Craven lane if she needs to. Everyone think like you play Captain Marvel, you don't think about it. That's not true. You have to think about it, right? A lot. So you play her like the way I play her usually is that like I play her in a lane where I'm gonna win by like a tiny bit. Let's say like 3 power or something. Just to force your opponent to also play there. If your opponent does play there, well, then she's going to jump away and help another lane that might need help, right? It's just really, really good. I think like 4-5 stat line is really good for her. I think if she was a 4-6, she would be just broken, right? So just like a single power less. It's not like the best stat line ever, but like the flexibility of just pushing 5 extra power in other lanes is just crazy. You can also Hulkbuster her for like a 10 power that's going to move. Obviously, she becomes Shang-Chi-able. But yeah, she's really, really good. Try to look in the gameplay. She's very often the MVP. Next up, we have Miles Morales, basically a 1-5. That's it, right? Because if we have Nightcrawler, we have Jeff, we have Spider-Man. We have like 3 ways of activating our Miles Morales, so it's super rare that our Miles Morales is not going to cost 1. If you have Silk, if you put Silk instead of Nightcrawler, he's going to be 1 cost at all times, basically. Like, it's so rare that your Miles Morales is not going to cost 1. If you have Silk, here you might have to like move your Nightcrawler, move your Jeff, or something. But if you plan your things accordingly, it's really easy for to have him for 1 cost instead of 4. We also have Legion here. So Legion is kind of one of our finisher, I would say. So once again, Legion is just my favorite card right now in the meta. If you're smart, if you're creative, you can do so many crazy stuff with Legion. I think he allows a lot of outplay. So yeah, Legion is freaking good. The 5/8 stat line, once again, is not shang-chiable, which is just great. And you can do some crazy stuff and just log down some games, just win some games just with Legion by itself. Don't forget you have Captain Marvel, right? So if you like lock down a lane, well then Captain Marvel's going to jump at the end of the game. You have your Jeff. Nightcrawler can also move across the board. So yeah, Jeff is freaking fantastic in this list. I'm waiting for the Dan Hip variant. I'm going to buy it right when I see it in my shop. And then finally we have Chavez just to thin out her deck. She's also good if you have nothing really good and you need some vertical power on turn 6. But I would suggest, if you can, not playing her because you have your Kitty Pryde, right? So if you want to play your Chavez on 6, well then you can't play your Kitty Pryde. So if you have a way to play something else in your Chavez, it's much better. So yeah, this deck has been the deck that's been working the best for me. I've reached Infinite like in under 48 hours, which is just crazy. Yeah, you have so many different play patterns with this deck. So try to be creative. Try to think. Try to use all your time in your all the time on your turn to play like the right play, right? So think a lot of what you're going to do and think about like the other turns, right? So if you're on turn 3, don't just play your Angela Kitty Pryde, which would be a great play, but like you have to plan. If I Angela Kitty Pryde, what am I doing next turn? What am I doing the turn after that? So think about that before playing your turn, and do that every single turn. And yeah, have a crazy win rate with this deck. I hope it helps you guys to reach Infinite. So without further ado, I'll get into some ladder games because I think you guys are still pushing for the ladder. But yeah, I'll probably be jumping into Conquest soon enough in my next videos. So yeah. All right, I'll see you guys in the gameplay. All right, next up we're against Chunkernaut. We have Craven. We're going to drop Craven. Oof. Craven would have been good in SRM. We're going to play our Angela in yeah, in SRM. I think that's a good play. Kitty Pryde's good against like a junk deck because we can like stop him from filling our location. Let's say he green goblins here. Oh yeah, well. I think I kind of have to go for like, I guess, let's go for Captain Marvel and, well, let's keep Pride right. If he clogs up the left location, we're just going to surrender it. Okay. Okay. We could Kitty and we could Spider-Man here would move here. Is that the best play? I don't know. Because if it pulls Legion, that's bad. But what if we... No, that would be fine, I guess. If it pulls Legion, we're going to get +4. We're going to tie middle, have good power right. That has to be a hazmat, right?
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here.
Pull the rock. Okay. Yeah, well, I'm guessing he was probably playing like a hazmat debris list, but I'm not sure what was the plan behind playing Odin on turn 6. But, yep. Next up, we have Muller. So Sunspot drops on turn 1. We have Crimson Cosmos with which is not great. We can still play some stuff into Crimson Cosmos, so it's not too bad. We get Brood here, which is interesting. We are gonna play our Hulkbuster into the Angela, because we don't really have a much better play. Okay, now we can get the biggest Angela. I think we Captain Marvel in the Angela lane. I just think we're going to pump her up as much as possible. Captain Marvel is going to move if she needs to. I'm completely fine with that. I would snap right now if I wasn't infinite. Here we don't want to pull the armor right now, but we want to move a card. What about we go for one of these, and then we can move our... Can't really play my Craven. I want to move a card, but I don't want to move a Broodling. Yeah, I'm still going to play it.
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here.
Don't move the armor. Okay. Wow. So we could Chavez, or we could go for like Jeff, Kitty, Miles, which is more power. And then our Captain Marvel will jump in Crimson Cosmos if necessary. But is 11 power enough? Is 11, or should we go for... we could go for Chavez here. So we would be at +9, but he's playing a lockdown list, right? So we might be better off playing Chavez here, because we have +12 in the middle lane, and we have +12 in the left lane. I think that's a little bit better. Let's go! That was a slightly better play. And I think we would have lost if we played our Jeff, Kitty, and yeah, we would have been, even with the Captain Marvel jumping, we would have 12, and we would have lost. So, yeah, we could have played, since we're getting +4, we could have had 10. So if I would have added 5 power, we would have been fine left. Okay, so I'm guessing the idea here is going to be to play Angela in the Nexus if we get her. And we could like maybe Shang-Chi. So let's play our stuff out of the Nexus lane so we don't steal initiative. And then we're going to Shang-Chi on turn like 6 or 5 or the whatnot. Okay, we have to play Angela in the Nexus even though there's the white hot room. Just in case we get Kitty. So we are gonna Hulkbuster, and we're gonna move our Nightcrawler so we can Miles next turn. We Kitty, we Miles. Cerebro. So you're telling me this is a Cerebro 5, and we have Shang-Chi in hand. Well, let's get that free energy. So we're losing like 4 or 2 procs on Angela, so 4 power, but it's still, we're still in a good situation here. We're playing against perfectly balanced, like all things should be. Interesting. But we have Shang-Chi though. We have Shang-Chi though. I mean, do we... yeah, I think we play like that, and we're just going to Shang-Chi next turn. We could also end the game, by the way, if we go with like... we could go like so, and like so, and like so. Yeah, no, that's much better. That is much better, right? Because I destroy his Spider-Man. Even if he plays 3 cards... 3 5-power cards, which I don't think he should be able to. He did. This is not generated, right? Okay, so if he plays, he would be at 27, right? Even if he, that's if he plays 3 cards, so we would be at 6 plus 6 plus 8, 14 plus 11 would be at 25. No, we would be at 27 as well. But we have more power middle than he has power right. So even if he plays 3 5-power costs on the left lane, we should be able to win here with our Legion here. And don't forget, guys, locations always goes from left to right. So if you have the most power left, it goes middle, and then the power middle goes left and right, and then the power right goes left and middle. Next up, we have Bing Chilling. So he destroyed our Jeff here, so he's probably playing Destroy. We're going to play Angela in the big house because we have a lot of ways to move stuff around. Oh, he might be playing Galactus. Oh, a Shuri's Lab game. Interesting. I think we Hulkbustered Angela. That has to be a Galactus, right? And our Angela is safe from Shang-Chi as of yet. And let's play our Captain Marvel. In Shuri's Lab, Captain Marvel in Shuri's Lab is freaking good. Yeah, well. Oh, he has initiative. Let's, no, we stole initiative. Okay, so if we go for Spider-Man here, he plays Shang-Chi. He plays Shang-Chi. He plays Galactus. We move the Galactus mid or left, and we're good. So we would have snapped here, but we're not gonna do it. And then we're gonna pull his
Friendly
Galactus.
neighborhood Spider-Man here.
Boom. Hello. Oh, Dr. Octopus. Pull the Shang-Chi. Oh my god. Oh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Get out of here. Ooh. Alright. So Luke's bar is really good. We're gonna play our Nightcrawler. And we are against Grogu. I love the name. So we have Kitty Pryde. We're gonna play her in Luke's bar because it's a more instant return back to hand. So I guess we're safer from Killmongers, right? All right. Oh, the vault. Interesting. So we are going to play our Craven. We are going to move our Nightcrawler. And we are going to play our Kitty Pryde. Just so he gets the rock and we don't. Wait a minute. Do we want to keep our Nightcrawler to go in Luke's bar? Perhaps. But if we get our Spider-Man, our Captain Marvel, our Jeff, or our Legion, we should be safe here. So I think it's... I think this is a play. Plus, he's going to Killmonger, right? He's going to Killmonger the Nightcrawler. Let's go for Miles and Hulkbuster here. In the vault. And then we end the game. So here we just Legion. We could Legion here, but that means he can play a card if he plays middle. Yeah, no, actually here it's a little bit better because we can play our Jeff next turn. Yep. That's the power of Legion in this deck. Yep. GG. GG, dude. Yeah, let's just wait a little bit to not disrespect him. Yep. Well, that makes a lot of sense. All right. So this is gonna be it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please reach infinite. Please tell me if this helped you reach infinite. Yeah. Follow or subscribe if you want to see more content. I'm posting deck highlights like that all the freaking time. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. So bye, guys. Take care.